We know we got a very good Middle Tennessee team coming in here tomorrow night. I think they've won 6 out of the last 8 games, and the first game down there, I know our team really played well, had the lead at halftime, and I know they jumped up and made a lot of shots the second half. So we know they're a really good team. They're really good defensively, and when they make shots, like I said, they're really good. I think I repeat myself. They've won 6 out of their last 8 games, but I like where our young men are at. We've had coming off a couple of games of different kind of games. Last Thursday was a lot of broken pieces from standpoints, people out with foul trouble and injuries and all that, and found a way. And we won a hard-fought game, Saturday night, a game that got off to a slower start, but then after that first 10 minutes, I think it was a next 22 minutes, we outscored them 23 points. And I thought our guys won that free throw war and won that rebound war. It was a good stats, and I like the preparation where we're at. This guy to my right, when I see energy in him, and when he comes to practice, got a smile on his face. I like that. The guy to my left, I'm not telling you anything I hadn't told him. He's got to continue to step up for us. I know the last couple of games he stepped in and made a big 3 each game, and we need him to continue to do more because he does one thing that can really help his team, and I know it's been a challenge for him, still recovering from that injury, but he's a guy who can be a huge factor for us down this stretch too.
Now, going into this game, just looking at the stats, Middle Tennessee isn't a team that just jumps out stats-wise. They don't seem to do anything particularly outstanding. What makes them effective?
Well, I think they got interchangeable parts. Probably, those guys can all guard multiple positions. Got a great player in Lawrence, can jump up and make shots, and King off the bench can make shots. But they play extremely hard, and probably offensively. They run a spread offense. That 5-man can step out away from the basket. He's not a great shooter. They turn that thing over, and I say offensively they can grind a little bit, but then their pressure. Like I said, they're really athletic. Those guys can guard multiple positions, and they try to pick up and press you a little bit. And they really turned over last game. I guess it was San Antonio. They turned San Antonio over a bunch to really separate that score down there.
Jairus, you played in the first game, and things seemed to be going pretty well at the half, and even early into the second half, and then just kind of the wheels fell off. They just couldn't miss in the second half. What happened in that game, and how do you prevent it from happening again on Thursday?
Well, I just think, we played really good first half. We had a lot of great energy. We came out there, we was ready to compete, and we came out the second half trying to do the same exact thing. They just came up, they stepped up, they were at home, they felt good, they hit a lot of big shots. And I think we just got to keep getting better and increasing our pressure because, we have been struggling guarding the 3, so that's something we try to kind of keep getting better at. But I think if we just force them to take tougher shots and make them be as more contested as they can be, we can go out there and play like the same energy that we did last time we went down there, I think we'll be straight here at home.
And that was one of those games where you guys kind of got bit by the other team just making a run that it seemed like it came out of nowhere based on what they'd done previously, but it happened repeatedly to you guys, but it seems like you kind of tamped that down a little bit. What's been going right for you defensively?
I think our energy and our focus have been at a higher level lately. I think we've been focused on that in practice. Coach has been doing a great job just executing certain situations. We guard situations where we can't allow threes and let 3 shots get up. So I think we just focusing on emphasizing things on defense that have gotten better, and thankfully they have gotten better because we need it for the games.
Coach, of course, 2 wins in a row, getting a little momentum going again, but it kind of been some stops and starts for you guys with that. You've had some streaks where you've won into conference 3 games, but always that will be broken by a long losing streak. How do you prevent that from happening again? How do you sustain it?
Just like I've said, like I told you the first day I was back, anything that's gone bad with any kind of losing streaks, don't blame those assistant coaches. Coach Cunningham and those assistants did an unbelievable job. That's number 1. Number 2, those players did an unbelievable job staying together. They kept fighting. And again, they just came up short It's a fine line in several of those games for different reasons. Some games just happens. Some games, injuries. Maybe some games people didn't play. But through all that, again, those guys did a tremendous job. So if there's anything bad to be said, blame me. Just blame me. Don't blame any players or any coaches or assistant coaches. You know, I wasn't there those first 9 games, and it sure wasn't anything that, you know, I enjoyed, because I know the tough situation to put them all in. But through all that, hey, you can't change any of that. It's done. It's over. All we can control is that next one and that next one. And so we're going to continue to do. And right now, the biggest game of the year is which one?
Tomorrow.
The next one. It just happens to be Middle Tennessee, and we'll approach it that way every game. As I told you from the get-go, I like where this team's at still. I like this spirit of this team. I like this fight in this team. And again, learning to play without Luke, you know, there's always adjustment with that. And I think we're getting better at that. I mean, there's some things we'll never overcome without him. There's some other things we got to do better maybe when he wasn't there. We got to try to figure those things out. But that's why it's a team game. It's a team sport. There's a fine line winning and losing. And whatever we can do as coaches, whatever we can do as players, to take that fine line and file it down just a little bit. 2 more stops here, 2 more baskets here. All of a sudden, that's an 8-point swing. 8-point swings and fine lines wins and loses a lot of games, and that's what we're trying to do.
Fallou, you've seen time on the court throughout the year, and I think you show flashes to where you can really contribute. But how do you earn more time on the court? What do you need to do a little bit better to be more regular?
Just gotta be smart out there. You know, listen to the veterans, and then whatever coach needs me to do out there, I just go out there and play hard.
Where do you think you can contribute on the floor?
I mean, whatever coach needs me to do out there, make shots. If they need me to rebound, guard, whatever the team needs me to do out there, I'm gonna go out and do it. If it's making shots, I go out and make shots. If it's playing defense, I go out and play defense.
Coach, I know you were ramping up Jamar, and he seems to be getting closer to being back to where he was. How's Steve Young doing, and how's Jamar progressing so far?
Well, I'm going to piggyback his question here first off. Then I'm going to come to Jamar. It's good. You know, again, this young man has never not tried to do anything coach has asked him to do. You couldn't ask for a better attitude from a young man. And it's hard in the role he's in. Don't know how much he's going to play, when he's going to play. And again, remember this, he missed all last season. He came off a bad knee injury. And there's just a learning curve with all that. But through all this, we have a lot of confidence in him. He's got a lot more to give even this season. And again, we want to get him in there more because he's different. He has great ability to make a shot. I think he's very skilled. And again, playing time, learning experience, there's no substitute for that. So we're high on him. I know how Jairus feels about him too. But back to Jamar. Jamar's, I think he's, the 4 games I've been around, his energy's been good. I would say the last 3 for sure. I think he was 11, 14, and 11 rebounding basketball, last 3 games. That tells me right there's energy. You know, if he can add other things to it, makes him that much better. But he's been a force. I think the last 2 games, 6 blocks. San Antonio, 6 blocks in 20 minutes. Stayed in foul trouble. Last game, 6 blocks in whatever minutes he played. Florida Atlantic, we were right there, blocks in that game. So I like where he's at. Like I said, I like where our team's at. I like the spirit of this team. I like, again, ain't gonna drill on anything that's happened. We're only control moving forward. That next game, that next day, it's win that day. It's come out here better today than we were yesterday. And we do enough of that, we're going to keep following that little burr down, that fine line of winning and losing. It's a fine line. That's what we're trying to do.
Last game, Wu, his minutes were down a little bit. I don't know if that was just a reflection on the situation. I mean, you left, like you said, you're starting 5 and longer than normal. Is that all it was, or was he a little bit
No, if you'll remember correctly, that starting five, I probably didn't sub the first 12 minutes of the second half. If you look back, I think that's what it was now. Several reasons. Number one, I think we go from 4 down to 10 or 11 up in that little stretch. There were several breaks in that game. There were several timeouts that they called that allowed us to rest those starters. And again, when things are going good, sometimes you just don't sub for the sake of subbing sometimes, unless you feel like it's a fatigue thing. You want to keep that rhythm going. I thought we had great rhythm in that stretch. Like I said, from the 10-minute mark the first half into the 7:30 mark of the second half, we went from down 10 to up 13. I think it was 23. We outscored them 23 points in 22 and a half minutes there in that stretch.
7 conference games left against Jairus. There's still time to make a move in the standings. How much, obviously you want to win every one of them, but what do you realistically shoot for by the end of the season?
Man, I think honestly we really just focus on the next one, honestly. I would love to give you a good answer, like how many games we want to win, but we've just focused on the next one. I mean, we had a tough stretch. We had tough routes. Our coach was gone. Our strength and conditioning coach was gone. We had a lot of bad things happen to us, but we didn't look at it that way. We looked at we got to keep fighting. So right now we're just trying to fight. That's all we're trying to do. So tomorrow is the main goal, main game that we focused on right now. Whatever happens tomorrow, wrap it up. Then we focus on the next one. That's all we can do right now.
You heard that answer he just gave you. These guys, they made no excuses. He brings up another good point. It was adjustment there too, because this guy's a part of us. I mean, he's right there with these players every day, and these guys feed off him. But we lost Coach Hall during that stretch too. Lost him the same night I think I went down. Fell on that black ice, and he was out. And he was literally away from here for 3 weeks. Absolutely horrible injury that he had. So that was another thing. But through all this, give these players credit. They've stayed together. They kept fighting. They kept believing. And again, sometimes in life things happen. There ain't answers for it and whys and ifs. No one cares about it. No one cares about it. The only thing you control is this moment. And that moment is the next game. It's every day. And the next game happens to be Middle Tennessee here at home. That's what we're going to try to control tomorrow.
Is how, Coach has talked about it a little bit with Dante and how he's getting back to stop this. How important has that been? How exciting is it to see one of your teammates break out with the confidence?
Oh, I'm so happy for him. Now, Dante's my guy. He's locker to the left of me, so I talk to him every single day. He works hard, really hard, and it's just a time. It was just a matter of time for him. He didn't really play that much at his last schools. He had a tough situation with her not even being able to play in some games for us. So he's had a tough route, man. He's a God-fearing man, definitely a good man. I appreciate him. I'm thankful just to have him as a teammate. And I knew it was going to come, and I'm just happy for it to see him, honestly. And it's big. We needed it, especially since Lou going down, just having another guy step up like that. So, no, I'm happy for him, though, for real. Now, he deserves it. He deserves it.
Fallou, you've seen some good crowds in Diddle this year so far. How important is it to have a good crowd tomorrow night?
Well, we definitely need everybody out there tomorrow to support us, We got to go get the dub for sure.
Yeah, all those students that are listening, everybody else, we need you up here tomorrow night. We all know how big game for us, because it's the next one happens to be Middle Tennessee. So no question when this arena has been packed and been full, we know the energy it brings to the team and what it does, how much we can feed off at. So we need everybody out here tomorrow night. These guys are going to be ready.
Have you been at all surprised at how balanced this conference is this year?
It's the best it's ever been since I've been in there. And there's some reasonings for that. Some reasons, and I said this 2 years ago. 6 teams that leaving the league, going to the AAC, through all this stretch, and sometimes this is where your roster's at, but through all this stretch, they were able to keep all their players because they're going into a different league, a league they were selling differently. If they were probably not doing that, then there's been some teams that would have lost some players. But because of that, they didn't. And you look at all 6 of those teams that are leaving, 5 out of 6 are really, really good, the best they've been through the years. And again, it's based on your roster sometimes, who you lost during those times, but they were able, those top teams, they didn't lose none of their better players last year through that portal because of selling a new league they're going into. And that's just being real about it. And I said this 2 years ago. It sure ain't no excuses for nobody. You look at Marshall and Southern Miss. Old Dominion got out of the league last year, didn't they? They didn't stay around. And they went into the Sun Belt. Where are they at in the Sun Belt? Do you know? Let me tell you, Marshall and Southern Miss are both leading the Sun Belt. 21-4 and 21-5. Both of them at the top of the Sun Belt. And we all know where they were at in our league. So it worked out good for them. So it is what it is. Our league's really good. There's no easy games. You know, San Antonio seems to be one struggling, but they've been in every game. You know, I go to North Texas and get beat 4 points at North Texas. Then outside that, fine line separating the best one from way on down that line. It's a fine line. And Florida Atlantic's the best one still, and they seem to be the best one with their record. I think UAB's still talent-wise probably is, but that's a fine line between first and 8.
A little bit of a break for you guys coming up after this game Thursday. Is it a good time for that, or not? How are you going to use that time?
Well, it's probably a pretty good time this time of year. You know, we'll still do something Saturday morning. You know, it's a game Saturday evening. Mike, we'll talk about after Thursday's game, but it's a good time going down the stretch. I think we got 4 games left on the road after this, don't we? 4 on the road and 2 at home. 4 on the road. You know, next week I guess it's Charlotte and Rice next week. So, you know, sometimes it's just not the physical rest. That mental rest can be good for us too, and we'll figure it out. But right now, hey, Jeff, ask me that after tomorrow night's game, and I'll give you a better answer. Right now, hadn't put a whole lot of thought into that, okay?
You guys have been a little bit nicked off, but you do seem to have everybody available.
I think for the first time, you know, we really nicked up San Antonio game. We're without a Rawls and without Luke, and Dave got hurt at halftime, or got hurt, didn't play the second half. J. Mar's in foul trouble. So these guys all stepped up and played big, and probably, you know, Saturday was a game time decision with Davey. Game time decision. And that's literally the truth. And it was another decision coming out of halftime. Is he able to go? Because the first half wasn't a characteristic McKnight game. Didn't know if he could go. And we knew if he said he'd go, we owe it to him. He's earned the right to try to go again. But we were going to be prepared for him not to go. But McKnight, being McKnight, does what he did and followed through it, and was huge that second half. So we're probably physically as good as we've been, everybody, in a long time. I like where we're at. I like our spirit right now. I like our spirit, Jeff.
Now, Rawls is one that's more of a lingering thing, I think, with his hand. How's he dealing with that?
I don't think it's much a factor now. We haven't talked about it much. Since he went to the hand specialist, they told him there's no major tear in that ligament, and it's not going to affect him by playing. I think once he did that, probably cleared his mind up a little bit to play and play more free. So that hadn't been a factor for last 6 games or so, I don't think, has it? You know, last 4 for sure it had. We good? We got practice.